Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you missed something? You heard the words, but you didn't understand the music behind them. We spend our lives surrounded by people, yet we often feel like we're reading summaries of books we've never truly opened. We are, all of us, sending signals every second of every day, not just in what we say, but in our silences, in the way our eyes shift, in the subtle tension of a forced smile. Learning to perceive these signals isn't about manipulation or gaining an upper hand. It's about something far more profound: connection. It's about replacing judgment with wisdom. The ancient philosophers knew this. They weren't just thinkers, they were observers of the human soul. They understood that to navigate the world, you must first understand the people in it. This isn't about tactics to dominate, but principles to comprehend. So, let's explore 16 philosophical principles to gently and effectively understand the people in your life. Not to win a game, but to build a deeper, more authentic connection with the world. Principle 1. The empathy echo. The truest measure of a person's character is not how they treat their equals or superiors. It's the echo of their empathy towards those who can offer them nothing in return. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminded us that we are all leaves on the same tree. Imagine you're at a dinner with a colleague who is incredibly charming and deferential to your boss, laughing at every joke and agreeing with every point. But earlier that day, you saw them speak to the office cleaning staff. They didn't make eye contact, offered a curt, "You missed a spot," and treated them as if they were invisible. That brief, unguarded interaction is the empathy echo. It reveals that their kindness is not a state of being, but a tool used for strategic gain. Principle 2. The art of the open space. Insecurity rushes to fill a void. Wisdom is comfortable in the silence. We often think of conversation as an exchange of words, but true understanding happens in the spaces between them. Don't use silence as a pressure tactic. Use it as an invitation. You ask a friend how their new job is going. They give a quick, cheerful answer. "Oh, it's great. Super busy, but really good." Instead of immediately jumping in, you just nod, hold eye contact, and wait. In that quiet, open space, that beat of silence, their face might change, and they add, "Honestly, I'm feeling a little in over my head." That is the truth that the silence invited out. Principle 3. The baseline of being. Who is someone when they aren't trying to be anything? Observe a person when no performance is required, when they aren't trying to impress, charm, or complain. The existentialists spoke of the difference between doing and being. Think about a long road trip. Is your companion able to just sit quietly, looking out the window, content with the shared silence? Or do they need to fill every moment with a podcast, a playlist, or a constant stream of conversation? The person who needs constant external stimulation may be uncomfortable sitting with their own thoughts. Their baseline of being is restless, while someone who can just be possesses a quiet, internal comfort. Principle 4. The Socratic interruption. People often operate on a practiced script, especially when talking about their lives. The Socratic method wasn't about winning debates. It was about uncovering truth through questioning. A co-worker is giving a polished, confident story about how they landed a major client. It's their hero story. Instead of just congratulating them, you gently interrupt with a Socratic question. That's an amazing outcome. I'm curious, was there a moment during the negotiations when you thought you were going to lose the deal entirely? This question bypasses the script. Their posture might change, they might break eye contact for a second, and then they'll give you a real, human answer. You've just met the person behind the performance. Principle 5. The minor friction test. You don't need a major betrayal to test someone's respect for you. The Stoics taught the importance of understanding what is and is not in our control, including our own time and energy. You have plans to meet a friend, and you text, "Hey, running about 15 minutes late." Observe the response. Is it a graceful, "No problem, see you soon"? That shows flexibility and respect for the fact that life happens. Or is it a passive-aggressive, "Okay," followed by silence or an annoyed, "Well, I'm already here"? This small friction test reveals their entitlement and how they react when the world doesn't perfectly conform to their expectations. These first principles are about observing the architecture of character. They reveal themselves in action and reaction, in how we treat the unseen, navigate silence, and respond to friction. They are the external proof of our internal state. But to go deeper, we must shift our focus from what people do to what they are drawn toward. We must learn to see the invisible currents that pull them. As the philosopher Simone Weil wrote, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Where someone offers this generosity of attention, their soul follows." Principle 6. The compass of attention. While people can control their words, they have far less control over their unprompted attention. Where their eyes and energy flow, their true values are revealed. You're at a party with a friend who is talking to you, but their eyes are constantly scanning the room over your shoulder. They're looking for someone more important to talk to. You are a placeholder. Contrast this with a person who, even in a crowded room, gives you their focused attention. Their compass is pointed at connection, not social climbing. It tells you everything you need to know about how much they value your presence. Principle 7. The vulnerability bridge. Manipulation fakes a weakness to test for cruelty. True connection offers a small, authentic vulnerability to test for empathy. You're working on a project with someone and you say, "Honestly, I'm a little nervous about this presentation. I have a bit of imposter syndrome." This is the start of a vulnerability bridge. Do they meet you in the middle with empathy, saying, "I totally get that. I feel that way all the time. We'll get through it together"? Or do they use it as an opportunity to establish dominance, saying, "Really? You just need more confidence. I don't get nervous about these things"? The first response builds a bridge. The second burns it. Principle 8. The pressure of patience. As the philosopher Seneca noted, we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. A person's reaction to unplanned, uncontrollable delays reveals their entire worldview. You're at a restaurant and the service is incredibly slow. Watch the person you're with. Are they sighing loudly, tapping their fingers and complaining about the waiter? Is their frustration poisoning the atmosphere? Or do they take a breath, laugh about it, and use the extra time to deepen the conversation with you? One person sees the delay as a personal affront. The other sees it as found time. It reveals whether they live in a state of resistance or acceptance. Principle 9. The aspirational mirror. Aristotle believed we are what we repeatedly do, and that excellence is a habit. We can see what habits a person wants to build by looking at who they admire. Ask someone who they admire in the business world. They might say someone like Steve Jobs, but dig deeper. Why do they admire him? Is it for his incredible wealth and power to bend reality to his will? This suggests a desire for control. Or is it for his relentless focus, his passion for creating beautiful products, and his ability to inspire a team? This suggests a desire for creativity and purpose. The reason for their admiration is a mirror of their own aspirations. Principle 10. The celebration test. Sharing in someone's sorrow is easy. It makes us feel needed. But to genuinely celebrate someone else's victory without a flicker of envy requires true generosity of spirit. You get a promotion that your friend also wanted. You tell them the news. For a fraction of a second before they can control their face, you see their smile tighten at the edges and their eyes drop. Then the mask comes on and they say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you." That initial, unguarded micro-expression, that flicker of disappointment, is the truth. It doesn't make them a bad person, but it does reveal a hidden struggle with envy and comparison. Principle 11. The shadow projection. The psychologist Carl Jung proposed the idea of the shadow self, the parts of ourselves we deny and repress. We often see these disowned parts in others. Think of the person in your life who constantly complains about how fake and attention-seeking people are on social media. Then, observe their own behavior. You might notice they are the ones who subtly dominate every conversation, angle every story to make themselves look good, and get quiet and sulky when the attention shifts away from them. They are projecting. The overt behavior they despise in others is a trait they possess in a more covert, unacknowledged form. So far, we have explored the mind and the heart. We've looked at the hidden drivers of envy, admiration, and the secret self we hide in shadow. We've decoded the psychological blueprint. Now, we must turn to the most honest storyteller we will ever meet, the body. The mind can construct elaborate lies, but the body keeps an honest score. It holds our history, our tensions, and our unspoken truths. As the great dancer Martha Graham said, "The body says what words cannot." The next principles are about learning to listen to this silent, truthful language. Principle 12. The unspoken keyword. The body keeps score. Even when the voice is calm, the body will reveal where the emotional landmines are buried. You're having a pleasant chat with a date. You're talking about travel, movies, hobbies, and their body language is open and relaxed. Then, you casually ask, "So what's your relationship with your family like?" You see an immediate, almost imperceptible shift. They lean back, cross their arms, and their smile becomes fixed. You just stumbled upon an unspoken keyword. You don't need to press further. Their body has told you that this is a complex and charged topic. Principle 13. The validation key. Before you can understand someone, they must feel understood. This is the foundation of all therapeutic relationships. You can't guide someone out of a forest until you first enter it with them. Your partner is upset because you forgot to do something you promised. The defensive approach is to say, "Why are you making such a big deal out of this? This creates a wall." The validation key is to say, "I hear you. It sounds like when I forgot, it made you feel like I don't prioritize you, and that's really hurtful." By validating the feeling behind their anger first, you disarm the conflict and open the door to a real conversation about the actual problem. Principle 14. The language of gratitude. Gratitude is a window into a person's sense of abundance or scarcity. It reveals what they believe they are owed versus what they believe is a gift. Listen to how two different people talk about their week. Person A might complain about traffic, their workload, and the weather. Person B might mention the same challenges, but frame them differently. The traffic was tough, but it gave me time to listen to a great podcast. Work was busy, but I'm grateful to have a job I care about. Person B's language of gratitude shows they operate from a place of abundance, finding the gift inside the struggle. Principle 15. The default future. As the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl taught, our primary drive in life is not pleasure, but the discovery and pursuit of what we personally find meaningful. Ask a friend a simple question. What are you excited about in the next few months? Their answer reveals their motivation engine. Are they excited about buying a new car or getting the latest iPhone? This suggests their hope is tied to consumption. Or are they excited about training for a marathon, learning to play the guitar, or mentoring a junior colleague? This suggests their hope is tied to growth, creation, and contribution. Principle 16. The final mirror. And finally, the most important principle of all. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." You use these principles and observe that a colleague seems insecure. The final, crucial step is to ask yourself, why do I see it that way? Does their insecurity trigger my own? Does it make me feel superior, or does it make me feel compassionate? Your interpretation is the final piece of the puzzle. It's a mirror reflecting your own biases, wounds, and wisdom. The goal of reading others is not just to understand them, but to use that understanding to know yourself. In the end, this journey of understanding is not about becoming a human lie detector. It's about becoming a more empathetic, wise, and connected human being. It's about seeing the person behind the mask and having the grace to connect with them anyway. Because the most profound connections are not made when we see eye to eye, but when we see heart to heart.